No one wants to admit when they've done something wrong. There's something about being guilty, doing something wrong that just doesn't sit right with people. They have to admit it. I want to talk to you about that today in your morning cup of inspiration. When I was a child, I saw some teenage kid, I believe it was, put something in the bush across the street and took off. So I went over there, and I'm about 5 years old, maybe 6, and I looked in there and I reached it, and it was a big hunting knife. And he must have stolen it, now that I think about it, and just was stuck from the store around the corner probably, and just stuck it in there to come back. Well, I took this over to a friend of mine's, and we started playing with it. Now, I was always told to never play with knives, let alone even handle them. And I ended up cutting my finger on the knife. So I went home that night for supper, and my mom said, "What happened to your hand?" And I looked at it, and I didn't want to tell her I cut it with a knife. So I said I cut it on my friend's uncle's bumper of the car. And she goes, "Okay, let's clean it up and we'll have supper." Well, I was supposed to go out that night and get something that they told me I can get at the store. I've been waiting for this a long time. And the phone rings, and it's my friend's mom who calls to tell my mom that we'd found this knife, and that's how I cut my hand, and and make sure I was all right. Well, my mom came to me, and of course I had to admit what had happened. And of course I was punished and couldn't go out and get what I wanted to get that night, and I probably had to go to back to my room and not finish supper. I don't remember. But you don't want to admit when you've done something wrong. And it's like the Ten Commandments. How many of us can say we've never broken a Ten Commandment? I mean, come on, everybody's lied, or they've stolen, or they've taken the Lord's name in vain at some time or another, or they've had other gods before them. I mean, before God, they put something out more that was more important to them at the time. So everybody's broken the Ten Commandments one time or another, but nobody wants to go and say to God, "I'm sorry, I did break this. I'm guilty." They don't want to do that, and because it's shameful, you feel ashamed. But God put the Ten Commandments there not to try to make us holy. He did that to show us how unholy we were. He gave us that to use as a guideline. Can we live by that? Nobody can really live by that all the time because we always fail. We're human. But we have something to look at. We have something to use as a guideline. And he gave that to us. Over in James 2:10, it says, "For the person who keeps all of the laws except one is as guilty as the person who has broken all of God's laws." So no matter if we try to keep all of them and we only keep 9 of them, we're still guilty. Which means we need to just ask God to forgive us. Help us not to do this again. Keep this from us so that we're not tempted to do that again. Like I said, he put guidelines in place for us to live by. And when we accept him as our Lord and give our life to him, it's tough. It gets tough at times. But with his help, we can get through this. And we can show the people that we are born-again believers, that we are Jesus followers. Yes, there's hope in Jesus. And we'll say hope has a name. It's Jesus. So follow him today. If there's anything that you feel guilty of, or that you've done wrong, just ask him to forgive you. That's all you have to do. Ask him to forgive you, and he will. And then ask him to guide you and to help you so that you don't have to stumble into that again. God bless everyone. Look forward to seeing you again for another morning cup of inspiration. Have a wonderful day.